Okay, Ryan, what is your guilty pleasure snack?
I can't get over like Lindt chocolates, the chocolate balls that you unwrap, you get yourself a variety pack of that, right? And then you just close your eyes and you reach your hand in and you pull out and you just get excited by all the colors that you see.
Welcome back to Stacking Growth Snacks. I'm Steph Crugnola and I'm here with Ryan Olestro, Senior Performance Marketing Manager for Refine Labs. And we are talking about running a paid search audit. We've talked about how, we've talked about why, we've talked about when and who and what to do with those results. So now we're going to talk about the strategy itself for paid search. So you ready to get into the last one, Ryan?
Love it. Let's rock.
So what creative approaches do you use to stand out in a crowded paid search landscape? You've talked a lot about Google wanting you to go broad, but if everyone's going broad, how do you make sure your clients stand out?
So I think what we have to realize is that search, you only have a few seconds to get someone's attention, right? People want an answer to their query, and they're going to click on that thing that trips the trigger that they feel like is going to answer that, or it could be beyond kind of what they were thinking, but they have to kind of really see that value right away. The big thing we got to do is, one, you have to make sure that what you write in your ad copy matches the query, and if possible, do a couple other things as well. So searching for sales software, if my ad says sales software, it matches the query, so it increases the relevance, right? If it said, revenue software, it's close, but not quite there. If it said pipeline, you'd say, close, not quite there. If it says sales software, they're like, okay, it matches 1-to-1. A lot of paid search specialists will recommend a tactic called dynamic keyword insertion, which is where in your Google ad, it'll pull in whatever someone searched and put it into a headline for you. Me, I generally go a little bit broader, and I do three things. One, always have the brand name in there. If you've built brand equity in other places by being on podcasts, newsletters, paid social, you're in forums, you're in dark social channels, you are, getting PR, you want your name to ring a bell and have them say, oh, okay, they do that. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I think I knew that. So always pinning the brand names so that people understand who you are and you can leverage your brand equity. Two is just nailing that keyword. Three, you can kind of use a couple things. So one, you could put in social proof. So that is something like, I wrote one recently that was, we help sell 20,000+ parts a day. It's like, oh, okay, like these people are legit. Like that's a lot, right? Trusted by top Fortune 500 companies, right? You're like, okay, a little soft, but I get what you're saying. If you have awards that don't have these crazy titles to it, you could put those in there. You could put reviews in there that's really popular in B2C, or 20,000 5-star reviews. So you can go with that angle, and that can help you stand out, because that really plays into this idea of loss aversion and this idea of, the crowd is right. This has to be good. How did they get all this? I also write kind of these positive, negative headlines as well to try to stand out. Very basically, people run away from pain, they run towards pleasure, right? So if you do a sales software and the problem you solve is your sales reps are not tracking their activity, you can kind of bifurcate that and write the kind of negative positive. So the negative would tell people that they can stop doing these things, right? So stop manually tracking your calls. Like, oh, sweet. Stop manually tracking your activity. Man, that's going to save me some time. So you can kind of see how you can play that dynamic kind of back and forth. You only need a couple of those. You could have max 15 headlines. I usually do about 10 to 12. Get some social proof, get some good cop, bad cop in there, get some keywords. I usually like to do one more variation of the query they're searching on. So if it's a sales software, I usually try to use a second headline. Sometimes what I do as well is try to qualify the traffic. So, and this is very important for enterprise, big companies that only want big companies, because if someone's searching for sales software, it could be one dude, right? Just one person, just like, I need some sales software. Like, no, you don't, but okay. How you could do that is you could do something like software for enterprise sales teams, software for distributed sales teams. Like talk about like how they're expansive or distributed or wide or enterprise, large orgs, enterprise orgs. You can say corporate too, because corporate applies. There's a company and then there's a corporation. Like there's levels to this, right? So if you use that kind of language, people say, "Oh, I work at a corporation." I don't work at a company. I work at a corp, right? Google gives you a lot of other little assets you can add on to them, and I recommend you add them on when they're appropriate. Add on your business logo that can appear sometimes as a little circle. Add on your business name just to kind of round it out, make sure you look like a proper company. Site links are by far the most effective. There, I almost always put a direct link to requesting a demo. Google is also pushing images inside of these search results, so it would be good to have just like a couple. Try not to have it be super stock imagey, but I mean, you got to do what you got to do. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. But I would say,
I feel like that's your job, right? You're trying to tell us how to live our paid search life. So you can tell us.
All right. If you want to live your best paid search life, which we should all be striving to do, Google is going to ping you if you have a lot of text on it. Google just doesn't want you to put, "Please buy my stuff" in an image and slap it up there, right? They want images. So grabbing photos from like events would be a really good call. Pictures of your UI, UX might be a really great idea. And so put in some images like that. And then it could possibly, not guaranteed, but if Google, our overlords, see fit, they'll bless us with this image in our SERP ads. So might as well take every advantage you can get. That's great.
Those are a lot of really specific and really clever pieces of advice. And I feel like we should all be paying a lot of money to watch this video. I'm just excited I'm getting it for free. But speaking of money, how do you make sure that your paid search budget is effectively spread between different campaigns and initiatives?
One thing that I find with accounts is that people, when they go broad, they're actually not able to get in as many auctions as they should be. If you're only showing up 1 in 20 times for a search term, and that's a profitable search term, you're probably not going to even realize it's unprofitable, right? So think about it this way. Your click-through rate is going to be between 2 and 5%, right? So out of 100 searches, you're going to get maybe 2 to 5 from it, right? If that burns through your budget, if there's 10,000 searches, like you're still only going to get that 2 to 5. I'll give you the rule. My rule is you got to be in at least 30% of these auctions, 1 out of 3. That's enough for you to understand, one, how much search volume is there? What is the ceiling on this? Like, if this turns out great for me, can I just jack up my budget and actually make a run at this? It lets you know that if you're in 1 in 3, you're able to kind of get clicks throughout the day from many different types of people. So for example, the issue with having a low budget is you get a click at 8 a.m., 12 p.m., and 5 p.m. Okay. But there was like 1 million searches. So you kind of like, did I just get the bad ones? Did I get the window shoppers? If you got the same clicks, but there was actually only a total of like 25 that day, then it's like, okay, I feel a little bit more confident that like I didn't just get the window shoppers, that this is an accurate representation of people searching for this term. So I always like to make sure that I have at least 30% in on my search impression share. There's a metric called search impression share. Make sure you hit 30% of it. I do find that Google Ads accounts are overbuilt. And they have 10 campaigns running and they're not funding any of them effectively. Really making sure you're in a campaign and really testing it is crucial. You don't have to go crazy and say, I want every single search in there, right? That's for later. If you're just testing it, just try to hit like 30% at least.
Awesome. And then my very last question, which I feel like you've touched on quite a bit through these last couple episodes, is how you integrate paid search with other marketing channels for a cohesive strategy. So I've heard you talk a lot about partnering this with paid social, with creating a podcast or a newsletter or something that builds brand trust and gets the education part out there for your brand. Is there anything else that you would recommend to make this a whole big, beautiful picture?
One, you could retarget these audiences across other channels. If you understand someone is searching for sales software, you're going to want to know about that because they're going to click on your ad maybe 5% of the time. They're going to convert on anyone's website maybe 1% of the time. That means the other 98, 97% didn't convert. They were just learning, right? You need to go back to them and really kind of keep establishing yourself as the person who can solve that problem. Now, it's easier said than done. Most people are like, why not? I'll just retarget them, right? Most companies we work with sell multiple products to multiple personas, and they don't have the content to show up in front of them to say a compelling message. That is something we work with companies on all the time. We go, okay, people are coming to this site. We're going to retarget them. We're going to tighten up the firmographics so now we better qualify them. And then we're going to continue to have a conversation with them about the value that we give. You can do this on LinkedIn. You can do this on Facebook. You can do this on TikTok if you wanted. If you set it up correctly with the correct structure, finding the people with intent who just didn't convert, maybe visited, left, converted somewhere else, visited, left, didn't convert anywhere else. They were just kind of creating their initial list of possible vendors. Now you're able to get back in front of them on a paid social channel and say, hey, here's a testimonial from someone from a relevant industry, relative company size. Retargeting is the number one, right? The paid search is really there to capture the demand that exists either at category level or capability level. And then retargeting off that is like the natural next step onto these other channels. And then using your brand campaign to fight off competitors and to collect everyone searching for your brand. Because if you're starting to educate people, if you're starting to get big, competitors are going to recognize this. Competitor campaigns can be lucrative, not always, but sometimes. And so you will find people bidding on your brand name, and you may need to fend them off by bidding on yours so that people don't just kind of get sidestepped, so that all the stuff you're doing on LinkedIn or Facebook or podcast doesn't get kind of usurped at the last second by someone saying they're better than you. For paid search, we really keep it like really tight and narrow in the pocket, just really focusing on what it's good at, which is finding people who are like, okay, I'm ready. I need this sales software. I tried everything else. I tried the coaching. I tried the Excel sheet. I'm now an Excel wizard. I'm no better. I need this thing. And I'm willing to justify it to my superiors and to create, committees and buying groups and all that, what have you. So generally speaking, we think about it in a pretty narrow way, and that's probably good.
I love it. Ryan, thank you so much for sharing all of this with us. It's been super informative, and I'm really excited to see everything differently as I'm searching Google, as I pull up my Ask Jeeves and I ask him a question. I'm really excited to see what pops up. Where can everyone find and follow your work?
You can follow my work. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm pretty active. I like to post there a couple times a week. That's where I talk about marketing. That's where to talk to me about these things. I'll give you my candid and unbiased advice.
Perfect. That's exactly what we all need. Thank you so much, Ryan, for being here. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and we will see y'all next time.
Been a blast. Thank you, Stephanie.